Hello there, boys and girls. It's me, your Star Wars dad, and we all know that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is a difficult minefield to maneuver. So many teams, so many game modes, so much going on, guilds, territory battles, territory wars, conquest, Galactic. You got so many things to do as a free-to-play player. Even if you're paying a little bit, there is a lot going on. It's a lot like the 80s when I grew up, when, mom couldn't get the phone around the kitchen sufficiently, so she bought, instead of a 6-foot cord, she bought a 20-foot cord or a 25-foot cord. Then she could go around the whole kitchen with the phone. Can you believe that, there was even a challenge back then? And maybe after this video is done, maybe you'll be saying to yourself, man, can I even believe I had challenges before this video? And so, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I, your Star Wars dad, present to you my 2023 free-to-play farming guide to help everybody figure out what they're doing in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
That's no moon.
It's nooch too good. Hello there, everybody, indeed, my Star Wars boys and girls, children of all ages, adults and dads and grandpas and grandpires and everyone. It's good to see you. I'm here. It's the 2023 free-to-play farming guide. I'm going to walk through this with you guys. But before we get into everything, I've got a few thoughts. Let me take this guy off of here for a minute, and we'll skip the characters and kind of scroll through it. So here are my thoughts. As we get into the free-to-play farming guide, I can't cover everything. I'm going to do my best to give you a good idea of who you can, as a free-to-play, or maybe as somebody who's even just, paying a little bit along the way. You could even be a hyperdrive player. Any player can look at this guide and gain a lot of value from everything we're going to talk about today, especially as a new player. Maybe even for me, I just started I started a free-to-play account here in 2023. I've relearned a lot of things and learned some new things along the way. There's always something new to learn. So maybe I can help you learn something new in your journey in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But I can't cover everything, and I can't even have everything in a farming guide that needs to be in it. It's just impossible. So, Arnold has guides, Darth Locator has guides, AP Gaines, Sanjita, there's so many guides out. I'm leaving a lot of people out. I'm going to put a link to several free-to-play hyperdrive guides, just farming guides in the description for this video. Please check those out. Check out all the great content creators for Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. You'll find a lot of great people out there making a lot of great content. The second thing I want to say is everything is permissible. As the Apostle Paul wrote in one of the Corinthians, I think, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So you, as a player, you get to make all your own decisions. You can farm whatever you want. I'm going to tell you a lot of the more optimal farming places to be in this game, right? I'm going to say here's an optimal way to farm your rosters today, tomorrow, yesterday, whatever. You're going to make the decision. You could farm whatever you want to farm. I might tell you to farm Geos, and you might say, forget that. I'm going to go farm Ugnaught and Coruscant Underworld Police. If that's what you want to do, more power to you. Congratulations. I'm not sure why you're watching this video, but everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And finally, just wanted to say, it's tough. It's easy to lose sight of throughout this, but we are trying to build a roster for all game modes. Trying to build a roster that works for you. Galactic War, when you get started off as a free-to-play player, a Grand Arena when you hit level 85, or if you pop for that hyperdrive bundle and Galactic War no longer matters. Fleet Arena is important to everyone. Territory battles, territory wars, conquest, proving grounds, and even the upcoming Crate Dragon Raid. I can't tell you everything to farm for that, but we can really take a look at some teams that are going to be needed for that and make a good assessment and really make some good decisions about that. So without further ado, and with all that said, let's jump right into the 2023 free-to-play farming guide. And let's start with the 3 Fs. I really talk about the 3 Fs. It's important to keep these in mind. First, hashtag FYF. Finish your farms, boys and girls. We talk about it a lot, but I see all the time when I go into look at people's farms and what's going on in the game, they'll have an Old Republic team and they went to the trouble of farming like a Jedi Knight Revan team, and then they leave them all at Gear 9, Gear 10, Gear 11, Gear 12. Finishing your farms. Get these guys to relic levels. Get the teams up. Finish the teams. Make them work. Finish your farms. Don't leave. You don't want 10 unfinished teams. You're better off with one completely finished team that's at relic 5 across the board than to have 10 teams that are all at Gear 10 and Gear 11. Or a bunch of teams. Anyway, just finish your farms. FYF. Keep that in mind. That's the first F. The second F is focus. It kind of goes along with finish your farms, but you need to be focused. You need to have an idea of what you're going to farm and then go get that thing. And then when you're finished with that thing, you go get the next thing. And maybe while you're getting the next thing, you're farming something in the background that's going to be your third thing down the line. But you need to be focused. Dial in and focus. Don't go through and level up every character that you get at the beginning of the game to level 85. Don't gear them all up to Gear 8. You're going to be losing a lot of valuable resources that are going to cost you later in the game as you're not able to upgrade the characters you really want to take deep into the game. So focus your farms. Really be dialed in and focused. And number 3, and probably most important, is just have fun. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game, boys and girls. We really get distracted a lot of times. A lot of us love Wampa, by the way. We get distracted a lot of times. Just, I got to do this. I got to do that. And you just got to have fun. And fun means different things for lots of different people. For me, for a while, it meant being in really high-level guilds that were tightly managed, a lot of micromanagement around territory wars, territory battles, and that was great. But then when I kind of got burned out on that, I stepped back. I took some time off from the game, actually. And when I came back, I realized I just wanted to have fun. I want to get into a guild where I can contribute, maybe help out some people build their rosters. And that's what I did. I was the biggest account in the guild for a long time, until the guild today is advanced to almost 300 million. A lot of your goals change, but you've got to have fun. So finish your farms, focus, and have fun. That's the 3 Fs. Now, what are some of the goals for new accounts? Now, when we look at a free-to-play account, the very first thing you should be thinking about is Galactic War. And we'll talk here in a minute about some of the best teams for Galactic War. Again, you can farm whatever you want, but if you really want to be able to finish Galactic War and do it effectively, I'm going to give you some of the best teams to be able to do that, because that's where you get currency to purchase things like Geonosian ships or Cad Bane at the beginning of the game, or maybe some other characters that you want to farm too. Fleet Arena. You got to be ready for Fleet Arena, which opens up at level 65, yeah. So you've got to be able, you're going to be getting ships along the way. I don't know when it starts, but it starts early where they start exposing you to ships. You've got to be prepared to jump into Fleet Arena and do a good job. Save up that Galactic War energy that you've harnessed so well, and then get those Geo ships and really, excel in Fleet Arena out of the gate as much as you can excel. Level 78. Level 78 is a big level for new players. And again, if you pop for the Hyperdrive bundle, this is not going to be as much of a concern for you. But for somebody that's free to play, playing the game from the very beginning, maybe popping $5 here or there for some stuff, level 78, the Ship Ability Materials Challenge, is so important because that's when you start to get Zeta mats. And Zeta mats are really important in the game. Let me take this down for 1 second here. If you look at a character, and of course, Darth Vader is that first guy we think about when we look at Zeta mats. Darth Vader, he's got his Merciless Massacre, which is the first Zeta that any character should get, any player should get in the game. These Zetas take a character like Darth Vader and turn him from somebody that's really not usable and not very good into a completely dominant force. So you want to get those Zeta mats as much as possible. And level 78 Ship Ability Materials Challenge, that's always a mouthful. You want to be prepared for that. You need to have the Executrix up, and we'll talk about what you need to have for that. But always keep in mind, level 78 Ship Ability Materials Challenge. Geonosis Territory Battles, number 4. You need to farm Geos to get into a guild that's doing Geonosis Territory Battles. The Geo Territory Battles for a new player, it is an important goal to have because you start getting the Guild Event tokens, the Guild Event token currency in that. You start getting Guild Event token 2 when you get to Geo Territory Battles, and that enables you to farm ships like Negotiator and Malevolence, and those are really, really, really important to advancing your account further in the game. So farming Geos and getting into a guild that does Geonosis Territory Battles is super important. And finally, Grand Arena Prep is a really important goal for a new account. You've got to have your account ready to play Grand Arena when you hit level 85. So those are the 5 new account goals. Galactic War initially, moving to Fleet Arena, moving to level 78 ship ability, Materials Challenge, Geonosis TB, getting ready into a guild that's doing that, and Grand Arena Prep. Now, I'd like to take a little break here and talk about the Phoenix. I've made these a pretty hot topic here lately. You can farm the Phoenix, you cannot farm the Phoenix. I think that either way, you'll be happy. Traditionally, the traditional knowledge and the traditional guidance for free-to-play accounts has always been farm up your Phoenix first. Hera and Ezra are easy Cantina modes. Chopper is easy in the Cantina shop. You're gonna get Zeb in the Galactic War shop and Kanan in the Squad Arena shop. You can farm this team up to 7 stars really within a month. Get it to gear 8 or 9 and go get yourself Palpatine and Thrawn. You can farm them, you cannot farm them. You can farm their ships, you cannot farm their ships. I think you'll be happy either way. One thing to keep in mind, if you farm their ships, you're also going to have to go farm Hera on regular energy nodes. Now, none of these that you see in front of you right now are regular energy farms. If you're going to farm the ships, you got to get Hera on regular energy node. That's going to cost you some time on another regular energy farm. Not a lot of times. You just get her up to like 3 stars or whatever she activates at. Whatever. The Phoenix, take him or leave him. I'm not super excited about him, but I'm not willing to say that new players shouldn't farm them. If you want to start off, if you don't really understand the game, the Phoenix are a great way to help you just start playing the game, understand what's happening, understand how team mechanics work, how they work together. You play them at different nodes. So if you're brand new to the game, the Phoenix are probably a great way to go for you as your first farm. Get them to 7 stars, use them to unlock Thrawn and Phoenix, or Thrawn and Palpatine. I've done that playthrough several times. You go on my channel, find me playing through those events. Otherwise, if you've played before, maybe you don't want to farm Phoenix, you want to go a different route with Rebels and CLS. So just a thought about Phoenix right there. You can go watch, I've made 2 videos about it recently, go watch those. All right, what are your best teams for Galactic War early on? I think there's 3 best teams. It's 2 Imperial Trooper teams with a Veers lead, Veers, Stark, Piet, Dark Trooper, and Moff Gideon. People like to sub in Range Trooper for Moff Gideon, which I agree, there's a lot of benefits to that, especially in assault battles later. But as a free-to-play player, you're given a 3-star Moff Gideon at the start of the game, so he becomes the most natural farm and the one you most naturally want to push forward because he's the easiest farm you were given him as a character. The Iden Versio farm, Iden and those leftover troopers, Stormtrooper, Snow Trooper, Magma Trooper, and Range Trooper can be in there. A couple things to note here. Well, I'll note it in a second. Then your Bastila Jedi. Bastila Jedi, Anakin, Jedi, Ahsoka, Ezra, Kanan, Old Ben. 3 of those, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Old Ben are characters that you're given at the beginning of the game. As we mentioned, Ezra and Kanan are pretty easy farms, and Bastila is going to be a regular energy farm. These are the 3 best early teams. We're trying to keep in mind farmable teams you can use early to play through Galactic War. One thing of note here, the Imperial Troopers on top, the Veers Piet team, that team leads you toward some other important farms like Sith Eternal Emperor or the Executor, and the bottom farm as well. Jedi Anakin gives you a really great Omicron team early in the game, or gives you a good Padme team. The middle team, the Iden Versio team, those are just leftovers. None of those characters lead you anywhere today. Eventually in this game, they're all going to lead you somewhere. Now, Iden Versio herself will pilot the TIE Defender, and that's a really important ship to have. I just don't want you to be misled that if you do the Iden Versio team, it's going to be a standalone team that's not going to lead to a lot of other farms. The other 2 teams will lead you to some places and kind of tie into some other farms, so keep that in mind. Now let's talk about, I mentioned level 78. You want to get ready for level 78, and what would be the fleet you're going to use for there? Well, the first thing you have to note is that you need 5 4-star and probably 5-star dark side ships to unlock Tarkin's Executrix to 5 stars. At level 78, you need the Executrix at 5 stars. You have to have the Executrix. You have to have Tarkin. You have to have these 2 characters to ensure your Zeta mats at level 78. To me, the easiest fleet to farm is right in front of you. The 3 Geo ships, Kylo Ren MS TIE Silencer, Ahsoka's Starship, and the TIE Fighter. The 5 of these ships, the Geo ships, Ahsoka, and the TIE Fighter, are available in the Fleet Arena store and the Galactic War store. You'll be able to farm all of them in there. And I'm going to tell you this right now. We mentioned the best Galactic War teams. Please save up. I believe this from the bottom of my heart. I guess if you're going to farm Zeb, you got to go get Zeb for Phoenix. Other than that, save all of your Galactic War energy before you get to level 65. Because at level 65, you can start farming the Geo ships and Ahsoka Starfighter and the TIE Fighter sometimes in the Galactic War shop. You want to have as much currency as possible to unlock those ships as high as possible. And as far as farming the Geos, they're going to be pretty easy. Geo Soldier and Spy, our Cantina node farms, are pretty low level and easy as well. The issue is that Kylo Ren on Mass is also a Cantina farm, and that's where you're going to get the TIE Silencer as well. But that TIE Silencer is a really easy ship to get to 5 stars. Sunfac ship, you're going to farm in the Galactic War shop, in the Fleet Arena shop, and I think you're also going to be using your Guild Event Token Currency 1 to get it in the Guild Event Token shop, the Guild Event shop. I didn't used to believe that. That's one of my 180s, and we'll talk about that later. So these are the best 6 ships, I think, to get to 5 stars to be ready for that level 78 ship ability materials challenge to get you your Zetas. Now, let's talk about some required farms. These are farms that you have to do. I strongly believe you have to farm. You have to do these farms in the game. Tarkin and the Executrix. I just mentioned the Executrix. I just mentioned you have to have Tarkin and the Executrix available at level 78 to do the ship ability materials challenge. No other ship does it. That is the only capital ship that will get you that, and that's how you get your Zeta mats in the game. You have to farm Tarkin and the Executrix. Good lord. The Geos, the Geonosians, Geoboot Alpha, Sunfac, Geo Soldier, Geo Spy, Poggle. You need these guys at Gear 12. It's going to get you into a Geo Territory Battle guild, and you need the currency from Geo Territory Battles to farm the Negotiator and the Malevolence. I'll show you them in the shop later. You need these ships. It's super important. Now, some of you who are veterans, or maybe you have a friend in the game, you may have a guild that will let you in to a Geo Territory Battle guild early without getting the Geos, and that way you can accumulate that stuff early as long as you get your 600 tickets a day. Hey, side note, you have to get your 600 tickets a day to be in a good guild, and you want to be in a great guild that's doing great things. 600 tickets a day are done by farming regular energy, fleet energy, and Cantina energy. Don't quote me on that. I think those are the 3 places. Just you need to refresh your 50 energy nodes, get 600 tickets a day for your guild. You have to do it. But the Geos are a necessary farm. Even if you get into a guild without the Geos, you're going to want to farm them and have them up because you want to be contributing to getting Watt Shards and getting a bunch of other stuff in that Geo Territory Battles. And also now, with the new Poggle Omicron, they're great in Territory Wars, and that's a guild event too. Hey, Boba Fett, Bosk's ship, the Houndstooth, and then Jango Fett comes along with the Houndstooth. Required farms. The Houndstooth is the most versatile and the strongest tank ship in the game, or just ship in the game. It's the best ship to have in the game. And Bosk is the pilot. Bosk is going to be also your early bounty, your bounty hunter, your main bounty hunter lead character. They're just really important. And I think that Boba Fett is the most important character to farm at the beginning of the game in Cantina, just because of the credit heist. You need to have scoundrels available to do the credit heist event. You're going to need a lot of credits early in the game. You're going to be short on credits. You better have Boba Fett at 7 stars and geared up to be able to do that credit heist. He's the most important character early in the game. That's why he's a required farm. And down at the bottom, Kylo Ren Unmasked and his TIE Silencer. It's in Tier 3 of Cantina nodes. The reason you're farming these guys, yeah, Kylo Ren Unmasked is a really versatile tank early in the game. You can put him with any team you want. But his TIE Silencer, as mentioned, is it's your easiest ship to farm to be ready for level 78 ship ability materials challenge. So that's why I've got it as a required farm. If I had to take one off of here, I would take him off. But then you're going to have to be scrambling somewhere else to get that 5-star ship to be ready for the ship ability materials challenge at level 78. I'm going to stop saying that now. I've said it enough. If you don't get it, it's not my fault. And you'll see I've added Vader down there bottom left. You don't actually farm shards for Vader. They come with achievements, but you need to get him relicked. You need to get Merciless Massacre. His Zeta Merciless Massacre should be the first one you do in the game. And then you do his No Escape. He's a super duper important character from the first time you get Merciless Massacre until the end of the game. Vader is super important and required to get him relic level as fast as possible and to get that Merciless Massacre Zeta on him. Let's talk about some highly recommended farms. For me, at the top there's some Omicrons there at the top. I also, as I mentioned before, the Poggle Omicron for territory wars for your guild. That's a pretty new one though right now, so I'm not willing. They could make some changes to it. Who knows? But the Qui-Gon Omicron, the Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron with Anakin is its own team. It can destroy all sorts of other teams in the game. It's super duper awesome. It's something you should have on your roster. I recommend it highly. And Wampa, if you're not going to be going for Darth Malak or General Skywalker gas early on as one of your early farms, Wampa should be your first farm along with Sunfax Ship. After you get Sunfax Ship to 5 stars in the guild event token currency shop, I think you need like 90,000 to get him. He is ridiculous. He can beat Sith Eternal teams all by himself. He can beat a Galactic Legend team all by himself. He can 1v1 Jedi Master Kenobi all by himself. He can kill like half the teams out there in Grand Arena with that Omicron. A highly recommended team. The Geo ships, and you see off to the side there the Vulture Droid. I already mentioned the Geo ships as being part of that level 78 you should farm. They're just a really good early fleet to have for the free-to-play player. And that Vulture Droid node is also going to give you Iden Versio. But Vulture Droid is a really good companion to the Geos because it works really well with the Separatists. So it's a really good early fleet to have with your Executrix. Below that you see the TIE Bomber and the TIE Defender. These are really great farms for early in the game and all along the game. I highly recommend them. In the Geo Bomber, in the Imperial Bomber, in the TIE Bomber node, you're also going to get Queel, who's necessary to go get Beskar Mando. But that TIE Bomber is a great ship to throw into your Executrix fleet as soon as you can get it. It does great things in there, great tank, really good stuff. And it'll enable your Geo Spy to come out as a reinforcement and put some taunts around, but that's something you'll discover later. The TIE Defender is just a super awesome reinforcement to have on the Executrix early on. And he goes with Iden Versio. Iden Versio needs to fly that ship. And then finally, Anakin's Eta 2 Starfighter and Ahsoka's Starfighter. Ahsoka, we've already mentioned the importance of that. Anakin's ship is just a great early ship to have with the Negotiator. It's the most important ship to have with the Negotiator, maybe besides Bosk's Houndstooth, which I've already mentioned as well. All right, well, there is that. Whew, big breath, big break. Let's take a break. Now, I want to review the shops with you. Now, I don't have any great graphics for this, but I want to talk about the different shops in the game and what you should be farming in the shops. Here in the featured shipment shop, you're always going to buy these 4 pieces for credits. Always buy them. They're going to come in handy later when you need to get to relic levels. Don't really bother with anything else in here as a free-to-play player. Weekly shipment, steer clear of this as a free-to-play player. You can see I purchased these, but I've got 150 million credits up there. You're not going to have that early in the game, and these cost 1 million credits. You can't buy these until later in the game, and everything else in here is not worth buying for a free-to-play player early in the game. Cantina Farm. Now, early in the game, the Cantina Farm is going to... Well, these next few shops are really important places for you to farm characters. If you're going after Commander Luke Skywalker, you're going to need Stormtrooper Han in here. If you're going to get the Phoenix, Chopper is going to be in here. Ahsoka is going to be a great, important early farm in this shop. But I think that Boba Fett is the very first character you should activate in this shop. I guess if you're getting Phoenix, you can do Chopper first, but Boba Fett, you need him for that credit heist, guys. Boys and girls, you need Boba Fett for the credit heist. I just think he's #1 in this shop. After that, important characters, First Order Officer for Kylo. Qui-Gon Jinn, there he is. That's where you farm him to get his Omicron. Those are some of the first characters you're going to farm in the Cantina shop. Here in the Guild Activity shop, later on in the game, you're going to use this for mostly gear, but at the beginning of the game, you're going to use it for mostly character farming. I'm talking a lot here. So young Han Solo, no, he'll probably be used somewhere. Don't farm him. He's not useful in the game. Right here, Colonel Stark. If you're going to farm that Imperial Troopers team with Veers, he actually would go with Iden Versio too, because he's not a leader. You're going to farm him right here. He's always available here. 10 shards for 450 guild activity currency. I highly recommend making this your first farm to 7 stars in here. If you don't farm Kylo Ren Unmasked in Cantina, this is a great place to get another 5-star ship. This node right here runs the First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot, and it also runs his ship, the First Order Special Forces TIE. And you can go back and forth, farm up your TIE Pilot, and also farm up the ship. get it to 5 stars if you want to sub it in there for Kylo Ren on Mask's ship. See, I'm farming the Gamorrean Guard. Don't do that as an early game player. He's needed for Jabba the Hutt, but that is like an 18-month farm for a brand new free-to-play player. Sunfat can be farmed in here sometimes. I highly recommend doing that at the beginning of the game. Those are most of the farms you're going to do. You can also find Farm Boy Luke and Old Ben in here as an early game player in character farms. Here in the Squad Arena shop, if you're going after Phoenix, you're going to do Kanan Jarrus first. And again, here is Grand Moff Tarkin. He's going to be, as I told you, got to have him to 7 stars. He's super duper important. Princess Leia is really, you have to have her for the Commander Luke Skywalker farm. Other than that, you're going to hold off. Savage Opress is kind of akin to the Wampa Omicron early. If you want to do Savage Opress Omicron, you can do that. But something that we ignore in here a lot are these prestige pieces. I don't know. These help your capital ships upgrade their abilities, and you really need somewhere around 1,000 of these to fully upgrade a capital ship to its full abilities. So if you got some capital ship stuff coming up, if you're thinking about that Executrix with Tarkin, you need to have it upgraded as much as possible when you get to level 85. So you may want to be purchasing some of these. If you already got Kanan purchased for your Phoenix, you already got Tarkin purchased, maybe your next purchase should be these prestige pieces to make sure you can upgrade your capital ships, the Executrix especially, to the max ability. Now, the Galactic War Shop, look at this. Now, I've got this all farmed out. This is what you do when you get all the ships farmed, you get all your characters farmed, you buy the ships in here, you get a lot of shard shop currency regardless. But you can see right here, Sunfac Star, this is actually a pretty rare pull here for me. You'll find a lot more often Ahsoka Starship, the Geo Spy Fighter, and Geo Soldier Fighter up here. That's why I'm saying save all this currency at the beginning of the game, except for Zeb if you farm the Phoenix, to buy as many of those as you can. Sunfac shows up in here sometimes, a TIE Fighter shows up sometimes, and I got them both right here. So these are going to be, I've already talked about, getting those ships activated for you. You can also get the TIE Fighter and Sunfac in fleet nodes as you advance through the game. That's a good place to buy them. Don't buy anything here. Don't buy anything in the mod shop. Fleet Arena shop. After you've gotten all your ships, you're going to be buying Zeta, a lot of Zetas in here. But at the beginning of the game, you can farm Imperial TIE Fighter here. Sunfac's ship shows up here. If you want to farm Ghost and Phantom, they're right. This is the place to buy them, in the fleet shop. Don't buy them other places. Ghost and Phantom. Don't farm them, with energy. Get them here in the fleet shop. You're also going to find, I mentioned Sunfac's ship. You're going to find Sunfac in here. He's going to be down here at the bottom. I recommend farming Sunfac in the Fleet Arena shop. It's a great place to get Sunfac. Oh, there he is right there. It's a great place to get Sunfac shards. In fact, probably the best place because he shows up in here more often than he does back in that guild activity shop. That's pretty rare to find him, although I think he's here, right? I'm Sunfac crazy today. Sunfac and his ship, they're all over the place. The guild event store. Now, I'm up to guild event 3. You're not going to have that at the beginning of the game. Here's this guild event 2 currency, right? For the Malevolence and the Negotiator. These are super important ships. I'll talk about them in a minute here. They're super important ships. You have to be in a guild that's doing at least Geonosis territory battles to get 2 currency. That's the currency right here you see, kind of the separated chevrons for the Negotiator Malevolence. You want to be farming these as fast as you possibly can. Other than that, you can see here Rebel Officer Leia Organa is needed for Jedi Master Luke. There's Gas. When you do his event, you get him to 5 stars, and you finish him off in here. Same thing with Malik. Hermit Yoda and Wampa are just a straight up 100% farm in here. You do get some shards in other places, but mainly 95% of them are in here. Again, I love Wampa in here. If you're not going for Malik or Gas early, Wampa should be a great early farm for you with that Omicron early in the game. Later in the game, when you're done with stuff, you're going to be farming a lot of these, but that's a conversation for down the road. And as I mentioned before, Sunfax, Geonosian Starfighters in here a lot. I highly recommend. It's a hard ship to farm. I highly recommend farming this, getting it to 5 stars, or you can even take it to 7 stars if you want. It's a great ship to have, but this is the best place to farm it early in the game. Once you get it to that 5-star, or if you're gonna go to 7-star mark, you don't want to buy any other ships in here. I don't see anything else, or characters. Don't farm characters in here. I don't like spending that currency here, except for the Wampa and stuff like that. All right. Grand Arena shop. Once you get to Grand Arena, the only thing you want to farm in here is Kyrotex. Nothing else should be farmed in here except Kyrotex. You need a gazillion of those. All right, the shop store, the shard shop. as you advance through the game, you're going to be getting, when you get the characters to 7 stars, when you get extra shards, then you come here, you can buy geared, you can buy gear and characters. You know, we'll talk about that later. Save it through the beginning of the game and never farm Grievous here. Oh, I forgot to mention, Grievous and Darth Vader will pop up right here on this node from time to time. You should always grab those when you see them. So always farm Grievous and Darth Vader here when they pop up. It's really important. This is the only place to farm Grievous. Don't farm him here. It's way, way more expensive than doing it in the Fleet Arena store. But you're going to farm gear here. This is the expensive stuff you see me. Don't pay attention to what I've farmed here. Most of what you're going to farm is right in this area down the road, and then down here some stuff. That's other stuff I've covered. You should be saving this as a new player until you really get used to the shop and see what you need. So, but mostly I would recommend this spot right here is the biggest one to farm, and this spot right here. If you got a bunch of them, don't do it, but you're going to need a bunch of the gear in here to get to relic levels. Conquest, only character farm in here. I don't recommend gear farming. Save up that currency if you just save it up. And Datacrons, that comes in later in the game for you new free-to-play players. I need to take a quick drink here. Hold on. The voice is giving out. Okay. Let's talk about your first Zetas and Omicrons. Now, I can't possibly cover everything here. Different farms have different requirements for Zetas and Omicrons and everything else. But here are some that are highly recommended. I will say this very first one is Merciless Massacre up top left. It goes on Darth Vader. If you can't tell these first 2 Zetas go on Darth Vader, that is not my problem. I can't help you. But this first Zeta on Darth Vader is Merciless Massacre. It is the required first Zeta in the game. You have to have Merciless Massacre. Again, it transforms Darth Vader from a pretty much useless character into a completely dominant character, Merciless Massacre. And very right behind it is No Escape for Darth Vader. It also makes him immune to turn meter reduction. It removes stealth from all enemies. It's a great Zeta to have to go along with Merciless Massacre. Palpatine's leader ability. That's going to make Vader even better. It gives a lot of turn meter for landing and for removing debuffs. There's that Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron I mentioned. That's his leader ability. So you have to Zeta it first, and then you get the Omicron there. Admiral Piet. If you're farming that Imperial Trooper team, this is Admiral Piet. Oh no, Inevitable Failure. I lost the name for there for a second. Inevitable Failure is the most important Zeta for the Imperial Trooper team. You're going to want to get it on there. It's going to make that Trooper team so good. By the way, you also need Veers' Leadership Omega. It's really cheap. It's amazing. It's one of the best Omegas in the game. It might be the best Omega in the game, actually. Poggle. You want to have Poggle's Omicron. This is pretty new, and this is not a Zeta, but it's just an Omicron that makes the Geos a ridiculously great team in Territory Wars. That's great for your guild. Basilisk Leadership Zeta. It gives everybody all sorts of tenacity. If you're going to be using a Basilisk team for that early Galactic War form, or if you're going after Jedi Knight Revan, and you're using Basilisk early just as a team, you're using Galactic War, Squad Arena, whatever, her Leadership Zeta is really, really important to have on that team. It loses usefulness after you get to, Jedi Knight Revan active and he becomes the leader, but then it could gain usefulness later on if you start using Jedi Knight Revan on your Jedi Master Luke team way down the road. So that's early. If you're using that team, you need that Zeta. Kylo Ren Unmasked, I believe this is his Leadership Zeta. He's also got a Taunting Zeta. Those are really important to have if you're doing a First Order team. And then Geo Brood Alpha. On the Geo team, you really need 2 Zetas on Geo Brood Alpha, but the one I'm pointing to here is Queen's something. Queen's something. I don't know. Anyway, it's the one that summons a brute at the beginning of the battle. That's more important than his Leadership Zeta, although his Leadership Zeta is super important too. So, or maybe, is she the queen? I don't know. She's a he or a her. I don't know. But it summons a brute. And there's so many other important Zetas that you can get, at the beginning of the game. Bosk's 2 Zetas are amazing. Golly, there's just too many. If you get Jedi Knight Revan, he needs 3 Zetas. They're incredible. Wampa needs a Zeta if you're going to get that Omicron in there. So there's a lot of important Zetas and Omicrons. These are some of them. I can't get them all in here. Go watch Arnold. Arnold's got a great ranking the Zetas video. That may help you out. Let's talk about Grand Arena Champs. These are characters that do really, really well for you. You're preparing for Grand Arena at level 85. These characters are going to be awesome in Grand Arena. both Revans. If you're going to farm the Darth Revan team, Jedi Knight Revan team, those are going to be great teams for you. Darth Vader Merciless Massacre, General Veers of the Imperial Troopers, Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron of Wampa's Omicron. We talked about those. Darth Malak. Now, he generally goes along with that Darth Revan team, but Darth Malak by himself can do all sorts of ridiculously gross things in Grand Arena. Iden Versio with her Zeta and Omicron and that backup trooper team, she becomes really dangerous in Grand Arena, especially early on. Gas and CLS, they're a little bit longer farms, but they're going to be Grand Arena champs for you. They're going to be awesome. Kylo Ren Unmasked, especially with that First Order TIE Pilot Omicron early in Grand Arena, killers, just absolute killers. If you're going after Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Geobird Alpha, Bosk, Padme, these are all great Grand Arena champs. Let's talk about the Grand Arena dogs. These guys are not going to help you. The Phoenix, this is why I'm so wishy-washy on them. I'm back and forth on them. They help you get Palpatine and Thrawn. They can maybe get the Chimera if you farm their ships, but they're a useless team. They're not even... Yeah, you might get a hold or two in your first round or two of Grand Arena with them. That's meaningless. I'm sorry. They're not good for you. Next, I got Farm Boy Luke on there to represent the CLS farm. To get Commander Luke Skywalker, he's an awesome character, but you have to farm Farm Boy Luke, Stormtrooper Han, Old Ben, Princess Leia, and R2-D2. Now, R2-D2 is a great component to a lot of teams, but the other four of those guys are not useful in Grand Arena. Oh yeah, you're going to argue with me. Add the Omicron solo teams. Congratulations, there's a small contingent of people that really love Farm Boy Luke, but just because you're the loudest about it doesn't mean you're right. He's a dog. Captain Phasma is a dog. If she's out there and you have her without that First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, she's not a great early Grand Arena team character. If you put the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron on her team, then she actually does become really a good team, especially early on. Beskar Mando. I mean, there are team comps you can do, but as an early game player, early Grand Arena, he's going to underperform for you. You're going to find some uses for him, but just overall, generally speaking, Beskar Mando, as far as legendary characters go, as far as journey characters go, he underperforms. Karth, that Old Republic team that you have to farm to get Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan, people put it on defense all the time, and I crush it all the time. Not a great Grand Arena team. Rose Tico, don't get her Omicron. I see this Omicron out there. People added it early on. Don't get her Omicron. She's horrible. She's horrible. And this is nothing against Kelly Tran. It's not a personal thing. The character is horrible in the game and in the movie. It sucks. They blew it. Don't do it. Darth Maul. You're gonna farm him, and everybody loves Darth Maul. He's just not a great Grand Arena character. Chief Chirpa, don't get the Omicron. Don't do it. It's tempting. It seems cool. It's not. Don't do it. And Rolo, all Rolo is on defense is fodder. Now, let me give a caveat to this whole thing. There's going to be some of you out there arguing with me right now. All right, get a hold. Fine. Do it. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. I'm just telling you, these characters are not going to be great for you in Grand Arena, short term or long term. Even if you find ways to make use out of them, congratulations, you can find use for a lot of different stuff. Dogs, they're dogs. Grand Arena fleets. Now let me say this, generally speaking, Fleet Arena, so, getting to the top of Fleet Arena, which is very important, by the way. Getting to the top of Fleet Arena, you get crystals. The quicker you can get to the top 50, the top 10, the top 5, the better off you're going to be for getting daily crystals. That's why we talk about executor farms. That's why we talk about getting these fleets up to snuff as fast as possible. Now, part of that benefit would be these Grand Arena fleets of Negotiator and Malevolence, which are piloted by General Kenobi, who you get from the heroic tank raid, which, again, I didn't mention it. You need to be in a guild at the very beginning from when you start the game. As soon as guilds open, you need to find a guild that's doing heroic raids and get in that guild and get a 7-star character as fast as possible so you can participate. There are plenty of guilds that are doing heroic raids that would love to have a person and they're getting 600 tickets a day by doing all their activities and will let you in the guild so you can activate a character like General Kenobi, Han Solo, or Darth Traya. Get in a good guild. Go look in the SWGH forums. Join my Discord, and we got a room in there for guild recruitment. You can find a guild that'll take you early on as a new player if you get your tickets every day. Grievous, we talked about farming him. These are just two really good ships, really good capital ships. If you farm one, take it to 7 stars. Again, you have to be in geo territory battles with a guild. You need to farm those geos to get these ships to get them activated and get them on your roster. They were the meta for a long time. Now that we have the Executor and Profundity, they've fallen to secondary, but they still do a lot of great things, and they can get you to the top of Fleet Arena and Grand Arena very early on. They're great ships to have. Get in the Geo Territory Battle Guild. Now let's talk about a few other things. Here's some GLs. We'll talk about some farming timings. How long is it going to take you to farm this stuff? 3 GLs that you can farm in less than 12 months, and I have done 2 accounts. This account that's in front of you right now, I actually, on this account, let me take this off here, I farmed Supreme Leader Kylo Ren in 9.5 months, and I got his ultimate done in like 3 weeks later. I got his ultimate done. So here, these are, and then I actually did a separate account where I farmed Sith Eternal Emperor in a little bit less time. It was less time to get Sith Eternal Emperor. So these are 3 GLs you can farm in less than 12 months. If you want to do a GL rush, you really want to get Sith Eternal or Rey or Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Not everything is permissible, not everything is beneficial. One thing you have to note with farming a Galactic Legend, you're going to sacrifice some of those important teams along the way. It's going to be a little more difficult for you in Grand Arena early, but once you get that Galactic Legend, you can do a lot of damage. You can watch Arnold, his free-to-play account, has 2 Galactic Legends in Starkiller, and I think he's up there at the top of Erodium right now, so he's really good in Grand Arena. So Galactic Legends are fun. They'll really make your life great. So there you are, estimated farm times. Those 3 GLs, 10 months. The other GLs, by the way, they're all going to be over 12 months, and the farm time is going to be variable. I think for Jabba and Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Master Kenobi, you're looking at probably 18 months before you can get them activated because of stuff like Wat Tambor needed for Jedi Master Kenobi and Jedi Knight Luke needed for Jabba and Jedi Master Luke. And then Lord Vader needs gas. I just don't think he's a good first Galactic Legend to have because you need Maul with him, and Maul's going to be difficult for a new player to get. 3-month farms. You can get Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Revan, Beskar Mando, and Padme. And I'm talking from the time you start the farm, not from the time you start farming for these characters to the time you can actually get them activated is 3 months. Now, it's going to take you another month or 2 to get them up to the relic levels you need for them, but that's a pretty good time frame for you to actually get these characters just farming free to play and get these journeys done. 6 months is going to be Gas, that's General Skywalker, CLS, Commander Luke Skywalker, and Darth Malak. Those farms are going to take you longer because you need more gear on the characters. You need multiple, you need both Revan's teams complete for Darth Malak. You need to have C-3PO, Chewbacca, and C-3PO is going to require Ewoks. Chewbacca is going to require Bounty Hunters. You need R2, which requires Empire. That you need for Commander Luke Skywalker. And Gas, General Skywalker. Gas needs a Galactic Republic team with Padme, Shakti, and etc. And then you need Separatist droids and Asajj to get that farm. So it just takes you a little longer to get those guys. 9+ months. Jedi Knight Luke, Starkiller, the Executor. These farms are going to take you a little longer. Out of these, the most recommended one. Now if you get Wampa, I don't know that Jedi Knight Luke is a bad idea, but Rolo, your big barrier to entry for Jedi Knight Luke is going to be Rebel Officer Leia Organa. Requires Get To currency, which is the same currency you're spending on Negotiator and Malevolence. And we'll show you those again. Where are they here? That's the same currency you spend on these ships right now. You're going to be spending on Rebel Officer Leia Organa to go get Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, so it's a trade-off. Starkiller just takes a gazillion Chirotechs, and that's why the farm takes so long. And Executor is just a big, long farm. It's going to give you a bunch of really good teams. You're going to get a Bounty Hunter team, an Imperial Trooper team. You can probably farm CLS on the side. You're going to get a great Vader team, and you can go get that Wampa team, too. So that's just a 9+ month farm. 12 months or more, and I filled in all of them here. 12 months or more, Dr. Aphra, Inquisitors, Profundity, those are pretty new farms. They require a lot of Chirotechs, a lot of extra farming. I just don't think those are great farms for a new free-to-play player to go after at all. I kind of think the same about Starkiller and Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, by the way, but I wouldn't do these bottom farms here. The Executor is a maybe, a solid maybe. There is an Executor question. I'll talk about that in a minute. Other than that, I put some stuff in between here. So less than 3 months and not more. So less than 3 months, you can activate Grandmaster Yoda, Palpatine, Thrawn, R2, and BB-8. If you do those journeys, you can get them done in less than 3 months. They don't really need much gear on the characters. You just got to get all the characters to 7 stars. Thrawn is the hardest of those journeys, where you need 7-star gear, probably 9 on your Phoenix, and you need some really good mods to get that event done. You can go watch my channel. I've done that a few times. Then the 3 to 6 month range will be the Chimera, which is Thrawn's ship, Jedi Training Rey, 3PO, Chewbacca. 3PO and Chewbacca lead you to Commander Luke Skywalker. and the Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon comes along with that journey as well. So that's where all these things farm. If you're wondering how long each of those journeys, in the journey guide, let me pull up the journey guide here for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. If you're new to the game, this is going to be this is a great tool for you. Right here, the journey guide. And let me get rid of this picture. Where's my cursor? Over here. Thank you very much. I moved my screens around to make sure I could do this. So here's the journey guide. And here you're going to see how you're going to look at your Galactic Legends. You're slowly, like, here's Palpatine. For Palpatine, I need to get a bunch of rebels. Now, I got all these relic ones, but you can use the Phoenix in here to get Palpatine. This will show you the requirements for these journeys, the guild journeys, which is these three I talked about, plus don't worry about Reva. You're not going to have her for a long, long time. There's Rolo. You can get her in Hoth territory battles. You miss out on a lot of stuff with Hoth territory battles. And there's Watt and Cam down there as well. And then down here, Galactic Legends. If you open up a Galactic Legend like Supreme Leader Kylo, it'll show you a list to start off with everything you need to get to activate Supreme Leader Kylo, the relic levels you need to get them to, and that when you activate these farms and these journeys, then they highlight the characters in your farm. Let me go show you how they're highlighted in your character list. So when you activate a journey, like I'm on Jedi Master Kenobi right now, you can see that I get this gold banner, gold flag right here on the characters I still need to finish. Clone Sergeant Cody, that's all I got left for Jedi Master Kenobi right now. So that, I just wanted to give you an idea here of the estimated farm times for these different journeys, and there you go for that. Now, what are the best first big goals? If you're gonna go big, you're gonna go for a Galactic Legend, you're gonna go for a big capital ship, the best first goals, and the ones you'll get the quickest, it's gonna be the Executor or Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the best first Galactic Legend in the game. Everybody agrees, it's not really a discussion. You can get him the fastest. He gives you that First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, gives you a Phasma team. You get a great Kylo Ren Unmasked team along the way. You should be farming your Geos as well to go along with that. And you get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. He's great in all the raids. He can beat every Galactic Legend in the right situation. In the right situation, calm down. If you have Wat Tambor especially, he becomes really, really effective. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the best first Galactic Legend. Now let's talk about Piet and the Executor. I've got a little bit of trade-off here, and let me tell you why. Executor right now is a capital ship that's performing the best for everybody. Profundity. Sorry, there's Executor and Profundity, but the Executor is the easiest big cap of those two. Executors, you can get it in 9 months or so. I think it's an important farm. I do recommend farming it. I think a free-to-play player, it'll help you in Fleet Arena. But there are several challenges if you're free-to-play or very small pay-to-play. And that is, first of all, you activate it at 4 stars. In order to get it to 5 stars right on day 1, you'd have to save about, I think, 6,000 crystals. And then you could get it to 5 stars on day 1. You're really going to have it, by the time you get it free-to-play, other people are going to have this thing at 7 stars because they've been pay-to-play in Fleet Arena. You need to get it 7 stars, but that's going to take you, even if you refresh it once a month for the next, well, let me think here. It's going to be, you need 185 more shards. That's going to be 19 more runs. That's 19 months if you do it once. If you do the Executive event twice every month, that's going to cut it down to 10 months. So 10 months after you get it, you can have it at 7 stars. I don't recommend chasing what is in the future, what might be there in the future. Executor is the best capital ship you can get as early as you can. It does seem like they're creating a kind of like a Galactic Legend capital ship meta thing right now. So I still recommend that if you want to go big and get a capital ship and perform in Fleet Arena, Executor's a great way to go. I just wouldn't expect miracles if you're 100% free to play. Once you get there, you're going to be struggling with a 4 or 5 star Executor against 7 star Executors and even Profundities, and maybe even this Sith capital ship that's coming soon. So just keep that in mind. You can do really well in Fleet Arena early. If you're in a guild that's getting you Get To currency and you get that Negotiator Malevolence early, that'll do really well in Fleet Arena for you as well. And speaking of something, I forgot to mention something. No, we'll talk about it here in a second. We're going to talk about this. So the last thing I want to talk about on this is let's talk about what your roster might look like at the end of a year. And that's what I've really focused on here, is year 1. By the end of year 1, you should have a really good idea of how the game works. You've watched a lot of content from me, from Arnold, from Locator, from all your favorite content creators, and you've really gained a good grasp of the game. So if I take you through year 1, I feel like you can have really good plans on your own for year 2, 3, and above. So let's get you through year 1. Now, what might your roster look like at the end of year 1? There's a lot of alternatives and a lot of options. We take a look here at a team at the end of year 1 that could have a Veers Imperial Trooper, a Bosk Bounty Hunter team, your Geos, the Executor, Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron with Anakin there, the Wampa Omicron, the Great Palpatine Vader team, a good Padme team for territory battles and territory wars where the Qui-Gon Omicron doesn't work, and the Negotiator as well. Now, I don't think you're going to have all of these relic. You're not going to have 100% of these relic. And I actually had, and I forgot to upload this. So you can go back and look at my account at the end of year 1. I had Supreme Leader Kylo Ren activated. I had a Darth Vader relic, Bosk relic, and Jedi Knight Anakin relic. I think that amounts to 15 or 16 relic characters at the end of year 1, and I was moving toward General Anakin Skywalker at the time. So you can get 15 or 6. So these top 3 teams, you can have them all relic. Or you can have the whole Padme team. You can have Wampa relic with Jedi Knight Anakin relic. You don't need Qui-Gon relic. Darth Vader relic, and then have the Troopers relic along with the Bounty Hunters that you need for the Executor. You could have all your Geos at Gear 12, and I think you could probably have that, maybe General Kenobi is also a relic for the Negotiator. This is a very possible end of 1 year roster. I forgot to mention something. Don't neglect the web store. You have to go to the web store every day. There's a free chest in the web store every day. I've talked about it a lot, and I totally forgot to include it in this video. I told you I'm going to miss some stuff. Don't neglect the web store. Get in the web store every day if you've made it to this point. By the way, if you've also made it to this point, make sure that you like and subscribe. And my thing didn't show up, so I'll put it in there later. All right, what's another look for your roster at the end of year 1? Well, how about Revans and CLS along with your Geos and a Malevolence capital ship with a nice little Grievous droid team. You still got Vader in there. You got your Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron. Let's talk about Jedi Knight Revan and the Old Republic for a minute. The Krayt Dragon Raid is coming up. Old Republic is one of the factions that'll be able to participate in Krayt Dragon Raid. We don't know what it looks like yet. I know Arnold is holding off on his farming guide until the Krayt Dragon Raid comes out, where we know more. But you're going to be able to use Jawas, Tuskens, Old Republic, Mandalorians, and I might be forgetting one in there. But we don't know what it looks like yet. We don't know what the deal is. And that's why this Jedi Knight Revan farm might be a really good farm. And the Darth Revan farm is going to give you more Old Republic characters there. Those Old Republic characters are probably going to come in really handy when you get to the Krayt Dragon Raid, because farming Jawas early, farming Tuskens early is not really something a brand new free-to-play player is going to do for the most part. Maybe that'll change when the Krayt Dragon Raid comes out. You might have some Mandalorians, like, is Boba Fett a Mandalorian? I don't know. I don't think he is. He is not a... Well, hang on here. Let me flip up this. No. So you could have Mando, Beskar Mando, Jango Fett as a Mandalorian. You might have some Mandalorians on the side there. If you get Sabine, so you might be able to get some Mandalorian. But just keep the Krayt Dragon Raid in mind. It might change a bunch of stuff for farming as well. That may turn, like, this Jedi Knight Revan farm into a required farm. We'll have to see when it comes out, and we'll learn more at the time. And then my final little look here. And this year, by the way, the possibilities are endless. Everything is permissible. Not everything is beneficial. Your roster can look like anything you want it to, but you can have 15 or 16 relic characters in your roster. You can have these things. Here's a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren rush. There's Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, a bunch of Gear 12 Geos you could have, some Bounty Hunters to go along with it, your Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron, and oh, look, you fancy little devil, you farm Mara Jade to go with your Darth Vader and Palpatine team. Whoa, you sneaky dog. And then you've got the Finalizer, which once it gets to 7 stars and you farm the TIE Echelon, it can counter the Executor. And you've also got the Negotiator in there, so you got some really good teams. Boys and girls, I'm your Star Wars dad for a reason, and I just want to tell you, you can do anything you want in this game. Hopefully this video has helped you to determine your farming directions in Galaxy of Heroes in 2023. I do really think that as we move along, as we really get into the game, the look is going to change. It's going to be different when that Krayt Dragon Raid comes out, when everything else comes out. So, yeah, here we are with my 2023 free-to-play farming guide. Make sure to like and subscribe. I hope this has benefited you. I hope it helps you. Share it with your friends. Let them know what's going on. Join me for my next stream. And of course, always remember, Nooch too good.